I'll never forget that night. It's burned into my memory, a moment that split my life in two, before and after. If you're watching this, I want to share my story, not because it's easy, but because it's important. I was just a kid back then. My world was small: school, home, playing with my siblings. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and that was enough. Or at least, that's what I used to think. Things weren't perfect at home. My parents argued a lot. Sometimes their voices got so loud, it felt like the walls would crack. My siblings and I would huddle together in our room, trying to drown it out, but that night was different. It started like any other. We had dinner together, though the tension was thick. My father barely spoke, his jaw tight, his hands clenching and unclenching. My mother was trying to keep things normal, smiling at us even though her eyes were tired. Later that evening, I heard shouting again, louder than ever before. Something about it made my stomach turn. My siblings were already asleep, but I couldn't ignore it. I crept out of bed, my heart pounding, and peeked through the crack in the door. What I saw will haunt me forever. My father was standing over my mother, his face twisted with anger I'd never seen before. She was crying, pleading with him. I wanted to scream, to do something, but I was frozen. And then, it happened. He lashed out, his rage exploding in a way I couldn't comprehend. My mother fell and everything went silent. For a moment I thought maybe it wasn't real, that I'd imagined it, but when I saw her lying there, unmoving, I knew the truth. I ran to my siblings, shaking them awake. I didn't know what to say or how to explain, so I just told them we had to leave. We ran out of the house, into the cold night, barefoot and scared. I didn't stop until we reached a neighbor's door. The next few hours were a blur. Police lights flashing, people talking, questions I couldn't answer. They told us we couldn't go back home. My father was gone, taken away in handcuffs. And my mother, she was gone too, in a way that broke me in ways I didn't understand then. We were placed in a children's home. It was strange and scary at first. I missed my mom so much it hurt. And I was angry at my dad for taking her away from us, but mostly I felt lost. Like the life I knew had been ripped away, leaving me floating in a sea of confusion and pain. The home wasn't all bad, though the people there tried their best to make us feel safe. My siblings and I stuck together, leaning on each other in ways we never had before. Slowly, I learned to trust again. To believe that maybe, just maybe, there was still a future for us. Looking back now, I see how that night shaped me. It took away so much, but it also taught me something I'll carry forever: strength. Not the kind that comes from pretending everything's fine, but the kind that comes from surviving. From finding a way forward even when the world feels like it's crumbling. If you've been through something like this, if you've lost someone or felt the weight of trauma, please know you're not alone. It's okay to grieve, to be angry, to feel broken, but it's also okay to heal, to find hope again. I share this story not for pity, but to show that even in the darkest moments, there's light waiting for you, and sometimes that light comes from within.